Hey everybody, I'm Zach from Mythos Pedals, and today we're going to talk about why I modified a $20,000 guitar. Let's get into it. Okay, first off, everybody, we're going to talk about this guitar, why I got this, what it is, etc. So, this is a Gibson Custom Shop 2024 Murphy Lab 1959 reissue Les Paul with a Brazilian rosewood fretboard. This is one of 50 in this finish. This is Tom's Dark Burst, and it is a really special guitar. I had gone to Wildwood Guitars to shoot some videos with the one and only Mr. Greg Koch, and while I was waiting for my flight back home, John at Wildwood walked this into the little demo room I was in and said, I think this is the best Les Paul in the store. I took it, strummed a G chord, and was blown away at how alive the guitar was. The shape of the neck, the weight, it's about 8.15 pounds. Everything about it is really as perfect as I would ever want a Les Paul to be. I love the finish. I love the flame. It's really indicative of what a vintage burst looks like, in my opinion. So, the short story is, I left. I got a message from Greg at Wildwood saying that, hey, I know you're interested in that Les Paul, but someone made an appointment to see it. I just want you to know. I told my wife, we talked about it, and when the text came that the guitar did not sell, it's still there, we jumped on it, because this is technically a birthday present to myself this year for turning 40. 40 is a big birthday. I've worked hard, and my wife and my family just said, hey, you should do something really nice for yourself, and this is something really nice, and I'm so incredibly lucky to have it. I absolutely adore it. It's a beautiful guitar, beautiful piece of wood, and it's everything I could ever want out of a Les Paul. And it is pretty wild considering I have a Les Paul that I think is one of the best Les Pauls I'd ever played before I played this one. But that's always the case, right? So, like the title of this video says, I modified a $20,000 guitar. I know that that is going to be crazy. I know that people are going to get mad at me. They're not going to understand why I've done this, and that's okay, but we're going to talk about it. My motivation for modification. So, my reasoning for doing this most of the time is that I just enjoy doing this. It's one of my hobbies. It's one of my pastimes. I love learning about all the companies making incredible replica parts, how to further improve an already fantastic instrument, be it in small hardware changes, be it in pickups, or just minor tweaks to a setup. All those things are really interesting to me and part of the journey, in my opinion. I love going down into that rabbit hole and getting just sucked into the minutia of this sort of thing. It's really fun to me, and it's something that I've enjoyed doing my entire guitar playing life. I started swapping pickups when I was like 16 or so because my dad had put a soldering iron in my hand at a really young age, so I knew how to do it. It was just a matter of saving up all of my money from working for my dad to be able to afford a good set of Seymour Duncans or something. But that's the most important thing for me. The reason that I do this is because I just really like it. Another reason is that I'm kind of cursed with knowledge. And what I mean by that is before I moved to Nashville, I just spent a lot of my spare time reading and kind of absorbing all this information about vintage instruments, especially vintage Gibsons and bursts specifically. I looked at countless photos, I read about them, I just wanted to know as much as I could about them. And then after I moved to town, eventually I got a job at Carter Vintage Guitars. And working there at the time that I worked there was incredible. We had so many bursts come in, so many incredible guitars, flying V's, vintage Strats and Tellys, pretty much every Fender you could imagine, pre-war Martins, incredible acoustics, mandolins, all the things. But the bursts specifically always captivated me. I loved how different they all were. Not all of them were great, but they all had such a unique personality, and it really blew me away. And one of the things that would happen when I was working with those guitars, shooting videos, doing things like that, is I would just kind of look at them. I would notice all the little details that made those guitars so unique and specific, and would just try to absorb as much knowledge as possible by learning from the Crate staff that was in the repair department. And in doing so, I began to learn a lot of things about these style guitars. We'll get into some of those things in a second when I talk about the mods that I've made. But all that to say, for those people that don't get it, why would you swap pickups or change hardware or do anything that would, in their eyes, lessen the value of a guitar like this? It's because it's mine. The moment you pay for it and walk out the door with it, it's yours to do as you wish. So many of our guitar heroes tweak their guitars, and it was just because they were chasing something, be it function or maybe a sound. That's what a lot of those guys did, and I totally get it because I'm the same way. I love making small changes that to everyone else doesn't really matter, but this isn't everyone else's guitar, it's mine. So that's kind of my thought process behind that. Please leave me a comment and explain what you think without, trying to pick a fight or using harsh words, because so often, in the comment section, that's what happens. But ultimately, this guitar is mine, and I can do whatever I want to with it. If I wanted to strip it and repaint it, guess what? I could do that. I wouldn't, but I could. So, lastly, what have I done to this guitar? Well, when I got the guitar, it had a sort of gray, cloudy area right here that I think was maybe some sort of relicking compound. It looked more like a buffing compound, and looked really weird. So I took some isopropyl alcohol and wiped that off. I love how the plastic on this guitar is also aged. All the hardware, everything's aged, and I like that a lot. But this gray spot on the pickguard just looked really off to me. And now it's gone, and to me it looks a lot better. I changed the switch nut because for whatever reason, this is really hard for even Switchcraft, who manufactures these switches, to get right. On vintage bursts, they have a very specific knurl. The shape of the switch nut is really specific, and I just felt compelled to swap it. I had some, and it's an easy swap. You just get out your spanner wrench and swap that. So got that changed. And then initially, I didn't like the pickup covers that came on these. They were really kind of gray and smoked out. And while the hardware does kind of have a similar look, most pickup covers, unless that guitar is completely destroyed, are still pretty shiny. So I put on some Crazy Parts covers and liked them for a second, but ultimately the pickups just didn't balance out for me. I thought they sound good. The custom buckers with Alnico 5 sound pretty good, but the bridge and the neck were really close in output, and I wanted more punch from the bridge. So these are my Fralin /RS Guitarworks True 60 pickups. This has a throwback cover on the neck. The bridge cover didn't really match the aesthetic of the guitar, and so I pulled it off, and I kind of like the uncovered look. It has a very Jimmy Page sort of vibe to it, and to me, it just has a really neat hot rodded look. I also changed the truss rod cover to a rolled cover, but that's a really minor aesthetic thing, and honestly, I don't know if a lot of vintage bursts had that or not. I've seen pictures of some that have it and some don't. I also ended up changing the tailpiece on this guitar. The original was fine, but Crazy Parts have really great replica pieces, and their replica tailpiece has a nice round edge, which is indicative of some bursts that have been really played that I like the look of, and I thought it just fit the overall aesthetic better, so I put that. Function's the same lightweight thing, but I just like the way it looks. I don't foresee changing anything else. Sometimes the bridge kind of irks me because you can see the copper plating underneath, and it looks a little funny. I might change it, I might not. It doesn't really matter. Ultimately, this guitar sounds great, it feels great, it looks great, and I just need to play it. But those are my thoughts on my motivation for modification. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.